Atlantea vivere, Agartha vivere, Shambhala vivere, Lemuria vivere. I wish to speak now in English about some things that are happening in Absurdistan, as this beautiful country of Romania is called on many TV and radio stations. Why is this? Because many absurd things happen here, like we are living in an alternate reality or a distant universe, another universe. So after the revolution, a lot of weird things happened. I once heard on TV in 1990 and 1991 that the whole commercial fleet of Romania will be sold to a Greek trader for 5% of their value, or 1/20. Why? You know, if in any other country in the world, including Greece, something like this will happen, that country will cease to exist. It will no longer have the right to be on the map. 8 million Greeks will starve to death, and many will leave the country if the whole commercial fleet of Greece will be sold, because we will no longer be able to scout the foreign ports and to learn where good prices are and where bad prices are for buying and selling things, and we cannot trade. And if we cannot trade, then we cannot eat. It is very simple. However, in Romania, because Dacia is such a great country with many resources, some things can happen and no one will be affected, no matter how crazy these things are. So, President Traian Băsescu, former President Traian Băsescu, who was then the former Minister of Transportation, appeared on TV along with Patricio and others, said, well, it is no longer economical for us to maintain a commercial fleet because it is too expensive to maintain those ships. Romania had the third fleet in the world or Europe, I don't remember exactly. And there were some Masons, some Illuminati who appeared and said, well, in their great wisdom, well, now America no longer has a commercial fleet, UK no longer has a, France no longer has, Germany no longer has, Russia has a little bit, and the biggest fleet is in Philippines, in the Philippines island. Those people were living in an alternate universe. And so we no longer need our fleet, let us sell it all for 1/20 of the price. And because many of our ships are arrested and we cannot be bothered enough to send money and food to those sailors, and many are starving to death, so we will get rid of all our ships. And so it was a woman who asked him, full of common sense from the unmanifested nature, well, then how are we going to sell our goods? Are we going to transport them with the power of our minds, to teleport them into foreign ports? How are we going to export things? How are we going to get hard dollars or hard euros, hard cash, foreign cash, in order to sustain ourselves as a country? Because you know we are not the United States of America, who was in a 2 trillion debt over China, and the Chinese asked their money back, and the people in Washington said, wait a minute, wait 2 weeks until we cut down a forest near Washington and we print $2 trillion and we are going to ship them back to you. So we need those money. How are we going to get money if we are not producing anything in Romania, if we are not selling anything? And besides, our industry was sold after the revolution. Only the agriculture remained. Romania became a primarily agrarian society, and the irony of history makes that the Soviets asked that after the occupation of Romania, that Romania will be turned into an agrarian society with agriculture the main focus, and all industry shall be destroyed. And Ceausescu opposed, and he was killed. And after he was killed, the Freemasons came and they decided to do exactly the same thing that the Soviets asked. So, and when I learned about this thing that the whole fleet of Romania was sold, I thought, well, it will be an instant revolution, an instant coup d'etat. The minister will be suspended by his feet and hacked alive with some swords, and the Prime Minister will be shot, the President will be shot and will be forced to flee, President Ilescu, Prime Minister Văcăru, but nothing of that happened, and life continued in the same way. And people continue to complain, well, we are so poor, and they went to restaurants and they went to stores where prices were 10 or 11 times more than the prices of which those goods were bought, because we had a law in Romania that the commercial ad, that it was called, how much you add to the original price of the product should be put in all stores. And we had stores saying, we practice in this store commercial ad between 0 and 300%, meaning that they sold goods with 4 times the price of which those goods were bought in the first place. And 500% and 700%, 900%, 1000%. And I thought, if on Alcor 4, who is now devastated by nuclear war, something of this happened, and there was a savage Alcorian, he will immediately draw his disintegrate, say honesty and justice, and disintegrate everyone in the store, the owners, of course. If he was a little bit more civilized, he will call the police, and the police will come and shut down the store and arrest the owners for fraud, and because they are crooks and thieves. Yes, you buy something with the price and you sell it with 10 times or 11 times the price. Now, and yes, they realized that, and after a while they said, no, the stores no longer have to write this, and all the restaurants are luxury resorts. So if you go and eat to a restaurant, you are making something of luxury, because the normal thing is for the woman to make food for the man, to cook food for the man, and only lonely men like me go to the restaurants. So all the restaurants are free to sell food with 10 or 11 times the price. And yes, this is also valid in America and European Union. You have 5-star restaurant in which you can buy food with 500 euros a meal. And there is no problem. Those people are not billionaires, they are millionaires, they have a lot of money. However, most people are poor. Those people who are poor cannot afford this. So yes, we need some cantinas, some places where food is really cheap. Also in civilized countries, food is thrown out every day, not in Romania. In Romania, if you go to a restaurant, there is a good chance that you will eat food which is very late. But better than throwing it away, they could give it at half price or tenth of a price or 1/4 of the price, or give it for free to beggars. Yes, at the end of the day. Yes. I was so inclined to laughter after I read some articles on contributors, because some people made a Christmas tree on the 1st of December, and they held that Christmas tree until now. I still bought my Christmas tree on 19th of December, but haven't made it yet. Anyway, I will make it when my birthday will come. I will be 36 years of age and king of Argos, and the emperor of Krishana, emperor of Ardel, emperor of Transylvania, and emperor of the Great Mother Russia. And I will be 36 years old and out of the nasty dragon age test and Agartha age test. Anyway, Agartha test and dragon test, the male dragon test. And everything is so absurd. Those people in power who have millions and billions of dollars have not done anything for 2 months, or 1 month and a few days. And after they got out from their drunken state, they said, well, 2015 is going to be another nasty year for Romania, because in the past 2 months no one has worked. Yes, no one has worked, because work comes from leadership, and since leadership is non-existent because I was not paid, and I am now with 5 lions or 7 lions in my pocket, and I must ask again for your small contributions towards me, which never came, by the way. And so it begins. I was told by Princess Mihaela, who has 7 heads and 56 wings, and that Britney Spears will pay me $10,000 by the Christmas, by blah. She didn't do so. I was told 2 years ago. And she also told me that I is the Empress of Agatha, blah blah blah. And you know, I remember something about Britney, because there was a black man who came with flowers to offer her flowers when she was 20. And the man said, a person said, well, I want you to be my wife, I have a car. And Britney said, well, do you have a car? Do you also want to have an airplane like me? Because I'm also missing a monkey. I want to have a monkey like you. And the man got upset and laughed. Yes, racial comment. Why? Why calling a monkey, being a monkey is a racial comment. I'm not referring to the black race, I'm referring to humans. Anyway. So, I am half monkey, half reptile anyway. I am between worlds. I'm Dovaki, half vampire, half. So I am half Greek. I am mostly Romanian Dutch, and I'm the great god Apollo. I'm also a bit Greek, a bit Russian, a bit Jewish, a bit Gypsy, and a bit Hungarian. Yes. So, my dear friends, we the Greeks are inclined towards productivity, not sitting all day long and then complaining that nothing happens. If you don't do anything, yes, nothing happens. Things only happen when you make them happen, unfortunately, in the 3D continuum. So, go to work. Bye-bye.